Hey everyone, welcome back to another video. My name's Alyssa and this is my channel. So today I'm going to be doing the first episode in my new All About My Novel series. And this is for my book Zamora, which I'm actually currently working on. I'm on the 4th draft right now, kind of in the middle or midpoint of the book right now. And I am going to be pretty much, going through 2 different points within each episode. So in this episode, I will be talking about what the book is about, or a little bit of what it's about, and I'll be talking or telling you guys about the world. Just a little bit, because if I say too much, it will give away stuff for the later books. So I want to kind of condense it and keep it small. Okay, so this is the first book in a 4 to 5 book series called the Element Hunter series, and this one is called Zamora, and each book is named after one of the witches born of that element. I haven't figured out how to explain how that happens because I don't really have an explanation. I just thought of this crazy random idea to have witches born of each element, and there is also a key that represents that element and holds most of its power and some of the witches' power. And if all the witches come together with all of the keys, and there's 8 hunters, so like 8 main characters, I'll be talking more about that in another video. But if they don't get there, or if our main character doesn't get there, more importantly, or to all the witches, and takes the key to extract their power, then they can all come together and pretty much rule over the world, and we would not want that to happen. So, we have our main characters pretty much going after these keys, and all of the ones before Griffin have their keys. He just has to get his, but there's so many bumps in the road that it will take a little bit longer than they thought. And this is just Griffin's journey, and Zamora is actually his adopted sister, and she ends up going on this huge rampage, killing his father, and also kidnapping his sister, his older sister, Evelyn, and a couple of other people that I'll talk about later, because I don't want to get too spoilery. But that's kind of what the book is about, and it follows Griffin's story and the breaking points that he goes through, and him discovering himself and trying to stop these witches from coming together. And we don't know who these witches are. We just know that they exist and that there's a legend about them. And I will do I have a whole dedicated video coming up next. That's actually what I'm trying to plan next, on my element legend. And I still can't believe I came up with my own legend. So, to continue on, that's a little bit of what the whole story is about, or at least the first book is about. And the world is kind of a medieval inspired time world, so it's not technically set in our world. It's set in a fantasy world, and it's mainly centered around the land of Corinthia. That's where all of our characters live. I have a couple of names for other, or sort of have a couple of names for other countries around the land of Corinthia, and the reason why I have all of them living there is because everything is pretty much there, and I don't really need to venture out of that country, or that, well, land is what I'm calling it, because I don't know what else, either country, or it's not really a state, because I don't really know what to call it. So I'm just calling it the land of Corinthia, and it's actually split in the middle by a large forest, and there's technically 3 kingdoms on this land. There's one that is actually within the Element Legends itself, called the Salia Kingdom, and that is hidden within the Alpine Forest, known to some, and to others it's known as the Forbidden Forest, or simply as the Shalia Kingdom, which, fun fact, I actually named after myself and my younger cousin Ilya. I put both of our names together and came up with that and thought it was pretty and very sounding like, so I called it that. And I have two other kingdoms, the Kingdom of Maystones, which our main character Griffin and his best friend Eddie both live in, although Griffin lives in Wingston and Eddie lives in Trinlet, which are both, Trinlet's right above Wingston, and they're on the coastline. And our story starts out in Trinlet, but then travels all the way to, in the prologue, but then travels all the way across the border to the Kingdom of Inthia. And both kingdoms are not named after, but they're both ruled after a pair of brothers. They had a feud after their parents had died, and King Jerome, who is the oldest one, became king. I haven't really figured out a whole background history for them because they're not really relevant for the story, but they may become a little more relevant later on. And yeah, so after King Jerome became king, his brother ended up crossing the border, and which is a forest, and making his own kingdom called Maystones. And I don't. Oh yeah, I didn't know why I came up with that. Pretty much, both kings, they do have some similar, not problems, but they have similar agreements, like things that they do agree on. Like, no one from the east can go to the west, and no one from the west can go to the east, so you can pretty much not cross the forest. And the forest is forbidden, and there's no speak of magic with either of them. If you have magic, you are more than likely to be killed, and if you show any sign of magic, you'll just be taken in immediately. And yeah, so pretty much magic is forbidden within both kingdoms, so that's something that they agree on. Another thing that they agree on is they both don't like our main character. And we actually see a glimpse of King Tiberius. I added that in because I thought it would be a bit more fun to actually venture further into the Maystones kingdom, because I only stay within Trinlet and Wingston, and I already know what the kingdom of Inthia is like, so I added a little bit in of King Tiberius, which was a little fun, and not much, just some. Griffin gets in trouble because his brother had released him, and there's a whole thing there. But I think that is pretty much it for, yeah, that's pretty much it for the world. I'm not going to say too much of it. So the world is split, or this country, land of Corinthia, is split into three kingdoms, and I'll get more into the Shalia kingdom and the legend of the elements, which is actually forbidden by both kings. Although there are still some people like Griffin's father who loved to tell that story to their kids, and they have books on them. Most of them have been burned, and yeah, so that is episode 1. I hope this made somewhat sense to you and got you a little pulled in to this world. I want to do it this way because it's more structured, and I think I finally have what I like on this video, because I've been trying to film this video for so many times and it has not worked out. So I think I'm sticking with this. I'm sorry if it's a little everywhere, but I think I like where I'm at, so I'm going to stick with that, and I will see you in episode 2 tomorrow. Bye guys!